Hi teams, how are you? It's nice to speak to you again. I know I've not been back for a week, but it's nice to get a chance to catch up and let you know some of the things we've been working on and that are due to come out to the network in the near future. I'm also hearing that things have settled down to a much more manageable level for you, and in the main, patients and the public are much more comfortable with the physical distancing places and procedures that we've put in place. So you notice there we're talking about physical distancing now rather than social distancing. Social distancing has the connotations of being completely separate from everyone, and we can use IT like this to speak to each other. So the phrase that's beginning to be used in that scenario now is physical distancing, and I think it's just useful for you and your teams to use that type of language as we go forward as well. A few things to update you on tonight, and I'm going to start with a look to the future. And first of all, it's Pharmacy First. That was due to be launched on the 22nd of April, and for all the right reasons, we've made the decision along with the CPS board and the SG partners that actually that wasn't the right thing to do on the 22nd of April. So now then, the NHS Pharmacy First service, we now intend to launch that in 8 to 10 weeks' time. So that's sometime during July. And this is to give you time to consider and refresh your knowledge of what we would call the art of pharmacy. So that's about advice, referral and treatment as we go forward with the NHS Pharmacy First service. You'll want to know about the approved list. Well, that's in its final stages now of acceptance. And please, if you could you accept your PMR updates if you have not already done so, so that the software is going to be ready and sitting in our pharmacies so that we can use that in July. The CPS board and the Scottish Government partners both believe that this is the right thing to do, and we took a huge step towards this when we opened up minor ailment service to the whole of the population and the public earlier during the pandemic. So really, as I said, it's advance notification for you to allow you and your teams to plan for this eventuality and this coming. Now, part of that preparedness and planning should include your thinking of how you will return to the normal hours in support of the NHS. Now, I trailed that 2 or 3 weeks ago, and it's now becoming more to the forefront about how we return to that typical normal opening period. The GPs, optometry, dental practices, we're all looking to return, and our network can really be no different from that. So the operation of the pharmacy might be slightly different than before, but the access to services needs to come and keep up with the pace of the NHS thinking. And I just think we need to manage that on behalf of our network. Another nod to the future is NHS Near Me. You might have heard about that or seen some reports of it, and it's really video consultation and how could we deploy that within community pharmacy. So we're discussing that with how we could be involved with our government colleagues, and when we know much more about that, we'll be back in touch. We just wanted you to know that it's in our thinking and we're investigating how we're included in that. So that's really for the future, two main things. A few things now about the here and now. We talked to you about the early release of prisoners, and we made you aware of that, and it is happening. So there are some citizens who are presenting now in our pharmacies, and they're likely to present with a handwritten prescription, and some of that could be for opiate replacement therapy. So we have already today sent out the health contact numbers for the prison service sites if you need to check anything on those particular prescriptions. Now, this has to be handled sensitively and support these people coming back into a community setting. The smoking cessation circular, just to let you know, there's one out, and it highlights some temporary flexibility and how the service can be delivered. And there's local support from the specialist teams at this time. So could I ask you to look out for that and have a read at it if you haven't already done so. CPS, we've got an emergency care summary survey out, and we've had some great replies to that and some cracking examples of how you've used it, and the access to it has really helped you make a clinical decision. So if you haven't already completed that or given us an example, could I ask you could squeeze one in and give us a comment during, which I know and I accept is still a very busy day for you, but we'd be really grateful if you would put your mind to that and could give us some more examples. And the last one for tonight is about your PPE reordering. Now, we're aware that when you call that number, it sounds like an engaged tone, but actually it's not. It's a hold tone and you're not engaged. So could I just ask you to please remain patient, bear with it, hold on the call, and your call will be answered. So we are trying to get that tone changed so it doesn't sound like that. But in the interim, could you please hang on, keep using the number, and the replenishment service is fully operational and ready to go. So just to close off tonight, Matt left you with a question. He said, which famous American novel is taken from a Robert Burns quote, or quote to Burns? And it's actually Catcher in the Rye, or we would also accept Steinbeck's Of Mice and Men. So my questions for tonight, just to leave you with, good Scots word, what is Rumbledethumps? So if you're not aware of that, have a look and see if you can have a guess. What is Rumbledethumps? So that's me for tonight. Matt should be back with you next week, either earlier in the week if we've got a quick update on some things for just now, or towards the end of the week once we've collated a few things to talk to you about. All the best, and thanks again for everything that you have done and have been doing, and I'll see you again in the near future. Bye for now.